What up, you guys? It's your boy 888. As you know, no financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. This is not for investment but educational purposes. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys a few tips and tricks that I learned on how to read a graph to determine its next movement. Now, nothing is set in stone, of course, but these tips and tricks I'm going to show you have really helped me. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a few. First one, it's called a flagpole. A flagpole is formed anytime you see a sharp spike straight down or a sharp spike straight up. After the spike goes down or the spike goes up, as you see on the one-day chart, the one down, it starts to consolidate. The consolidation forms a new bottom or a new ground. That takes the shape, if consolidation happens immediately after the pole, into what would look like a flag. Right here. You guys see that? That looks like a flag. It's called a flagpole. When you see a flagpole forming, it indicates that when this channel right here gets ready to narrow with this channel right here, let me do that for you guys. Here's your channel. When it comes to a bottom, or when the tips of that flag, I guess you should say, touch, 90% of the time it skyrockets it up. Now, what does that mean? That means that right now you're looking at a flagpole. When that flagpole, when the flag on the flagpole gets to the very, very, very middle, it shoots up. Now, another cool thing to look at on this one-day chart is the flag itself right here. Oh, sorry about this. My phone's kind of messed up. The flag forms a W, so it should look like this. A W indicates a win. If you see a W, it indicates, not always, but it indicates it's going up. It means win. If you see an M, however, it means move on. As indicated right here, you'll see it's actually an M. If you guys can see that, right there. Forms an M. And as soon as the market knew it was an M, what happened? It came down. M means move on. W means win. And the amount of them you see also matter. 3 strikes and you're out. If you see 3 W's forming, it usually means a ballpark run. It just means they hit it out the park and it's going to fly. If you see 3 M's forming, it means that it's probably going to be a 3 strikes, you're out, and the market's going to jump off, indicating it will continue to go down. Now, M's and W's, if that's the only thing and only strategy you're looking at, are very deceiving. For example, this W right here, along with this W right here, and this big W, ignore the M if your brain can see it, indicates win, win, win. Why did it drop? Well, you need to understand, overall, the tips of the mountains are leaning in what direction? Would you say they're pointing left, right, or both? Left indicates the market is not very bullish. It's bearish. If the tips of the mountain are pointing left, W or not, it indicates that the sentiment is dying down. People aren't really trying to break the new time high. Bump. Okay? If they are pointing right, however, indicating a bullish tendency, it indicates that the market wants to keep on pushing with this. Now, if you saw 3 W's, perfect W's in a row, with the tips pointing to the right, 3 W's in a row with the tips pointing to the right, that is a very strong indication that it's going to skyrocket up. All right, So we covered the flagpole, meaning up or down, and then consolidation, and we covered W's and M's. Let's take a better look at it. Alrighty, on the 1 week chart, what do we see here? We see some solid movement. For example, that is a very, very good W. And what are the tips, especially the one in the middle? Which way is it pointing? It's pointing right. And what did the market do with that? It sent it up. Now, what did it turn into once it got there? That's an M. If you saw that M, you should know right, left, the tips are pointing both ways, every way, and it's kind of sloppy, but it's an M. I would hold off on buying, because what happens? It goes down. M means move on, W means win. You're going to want to check the 1 week, the 1 month, 1 year. Those are the three most important aspects. The 1 day is too hard to determine. The 1 hour is impossible, and the all-time is irrelevant. You want 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. If the 3W rule, leaning right, matches on the week, month, and year, it is extremely bullish. If it does not match, it means that it is bearish, and it could be going through what's called a crypto winter or a freeze. Okay, so next we're going to be looking, as you guys see, all time, bump, bump, bump. I'm sure you guys can see, but sometimes it gets confusing. This is how you know, off rip, just looking at it, this is very, very bullish. We got a W. Hold on. We got one W, if you guys see it. Bump, bump, bump. And this whole circle actually creates a W. So we've got a giant W right there. And then we've got a small W within the big W right there. And then we've got even another W right there. Altogether, that giant W makes 3 Ws, so the market wanted to keep going up. Right now, for Solana, we are about to form another W. As you can see on the 1 year chart, it's tilting, but that's not a straight shot down. A straight shot down would indicate an M. Bump, it needed to go a little lower. This is going to catch itself. Alright. Next. So you guys know the flagpole, you guys know the W's. Now, let's look at another coin. We're going to learn bottom to bottom. Now, bottom to bottom is also an important rule. It tells you if the market overall is trending upward for this asset or if it is trending downward. The bottom to bottom indicates what's called a support line. The top to top indicates what's called a resistance line. Resistance means that's the point that it needs to break. The support means that's the point that it should not break or go below. Now, if you were to take a ruler and line it up perfectly and create a straight line from one bottom to the absolute lowest next bottom, what would the bottom or the chart or the ruler indicate? Now, let me show you. Bottom. Bottom to bottom would be right here to right here, because those are the two bottoms. The next one should be right about, like I said, I apologize, my phone, bump, bump, bump. It has to be a straight line, okay? A straight line. So bottom to bottom. But is that line in an upward slope or a downward slope? It's in an upward slope. It's going up. So no matter what, over time, within a year, the bottom to bottom, despite all of this chaos, it is a upward trend, okay? All right, bottom to bottom, you need to match on the 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year to be sure. Bottom to bottom would be So this means that it may or may not be overbought. One indication says that right now it's overbought, because if that straight line continued, it shouldn't be up here. It should be more like right here. Okay? Not here, but right here. If this indication continues. Alright. So bottom to bottom, and now top to top. Top would be right here. So you're going to go bump. Oh, I missed it. You're going to go bump. Alright, so bump. Right now, you formed a channel. Just know, anytime you create a channel, anything that goes on inside the channel is bullshit. None of this is relevant on the long-term scheme of things. However, this is all relevant to you when you want to know when I should put my money in and when I should take it out to save the money that I've made to maybe put it back in when it drops. So for example, this is an M. If you saw this M forming, you would probably jump right about here. Here, I'll put an X on it. And you would buy back probably right about here. And I'll even circle it with green. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? M, move on for now. W, win. Bottom to bottom, top to top. Bottom to bottom and top to top, top, bottom, indicates a channel. Within the channel, that is where a day trader or the investor cares about making their purchase. So, if you see the chart going upward, bottom to bottom, and the tips create the channel, look at which way the mountain peaks lean or point. Is it more leftward or rightward? Then indicate how many W's, how many M's, how many actual things are going on. We got a big old M, but we got, oh, look at that, Algorand. Perfect example right there. On the 1-year chart, this is very, very, very bullish. Because look, we have a flagpole in the upward direction. The flag is formed right here. Oh, sorry guys. Here, I'll mimic it. So we got an upward pole. We've got a very neat consolidation, which it might have just hit. And what else do we have? We have a W, and a W. We've got 3 W's on that flag, if you guys can see them. W, W, W. Okay? So, if we've got 3 W's on an upward flag pole with the bottom to bottom indicating a very upward slope, and then the consolidation period, this is telling you that right here, the end of this flagpole, you have a very, very, very significant chance of the outcome being what it looks like it's doing right now. This. As indicated right here. So, remember, flagpoles, W's, M's, 3 strikes you're in, 3 strikes you're out, in which way the tips of the mountains are pointing. These few tips will let you know on the 3-3-3, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 3 W's, or 3 M's, or a giant W, or a giant M, along with the bottom to bottom, top to top, creates the channel. If you guys understand those few basic tips on how to read a chart, you guys will be very, very, very well off in your journeys. As you see on the 1 month chart, just real quick, I'll wrap it up. On the 1 month chart, Algorand is in a very upward consolidation. So we've got top to top to top, technically. Bump, bump. That's its thing. And now we got green. Bottom to bottom to bottom to bottom forms a beautiful, beautiful line and a beautiful consolidation, which is at a even higher upward slope. Now let's look at some key things. We have, believe it or not, we have a W, we have a M, we have an M, we have a W, we have a M, but the tips are pointing right, 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 W, right, W. Now we have, this kind of might seem chaotic, especially without me highlighting it for yourself. Remember, these are tips and tricks. There's no for sure way to know. But I can tell you this, out of those sets of rules and tips and tricks I just gave you, whichever one, after count them up, alright, is the top to top in a decent upward? Yes. Is the bottom to bottom to bottom to bottom in a decent upward? Yes. Are the tips leaning right? More often than they're leaning left? Yes. Do I see a giant W, and maybe a giant M, and we saw what happened? It came down, which turned into another M, started to come down, caught itself, brought itself up, turning itself into a W. These indications right here are showing you, because you have a check, 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 and maybe an X with the, did it turn into another W? No, M and M. But those M's are pointing upward, rightward. The tips are pointing right of all of those M's. So it kind of cancels out like a double negative. Alright, you guys, I hope that this helped and it was not confusing. I will try and put out another one that's more descriptive, but these are simple tips and tricks for beginners on how to read a chart in a bull or bear market. Remember, what's important? 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. What else is important? 3 sets or a giant W means win, or 3 sets or a giant M means move on in all 3 categories. Or, same goes with W, in all 3 categories. Or, bottom to bottom to bottom in all 3 categories, and top to top to top in all 3 categories. 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. And then lastly, flagpole. And then it must consolidate. Now, if you guys see right here, this flagpole tried to start out, and then it was caused by a significant drop. That drop was the end, and this was the catch of China's FUD and regulation banning cryptos and all that good shit they did last month. All right, you guys have a good one.